You may have heard people emphasize the importance of an increased credit limit. No doubt, credit limits play a very vital role in your financial life, and raising the credit limit on your credit card can give you a lot of advantages, including more buying power. What's up, and welcome to Smart Money, where our mission is to give our viewers the motivation to make more money and the skills to keep it. In today's video, I will tell you about strategies for expanding the credit limit, and we are going to discuss the importance of an increased limit and whether you should focus on increasing the limit of your credit card or not. So make sure you stay till the end to get the most out of this video. Please give this video a thumbs up before I go on so that the YouTube algorithm can continue to deliver you videos like this. Also subscribe and turn on the post notification. What is the credit limit of my credit cards? Before we talk about the ways to increase the credit limit, let's talk about what a credit limit is, as this concept may be new to some people. So credit limit is the maximum amount of money you can spend on your credit card that is allowed by the lender. It's not advisable to max out your credit limit. Instead, it is better to handle it responsibly so you can borrow more money in the future to buy a car or a house. When you use your credit card to make a purchase, the amount is deducted from your credit limit and you are left with the available credit. Some of you must be wondering what happens if someone goes over their credit limit. The first obvious thing is that your card will be declined when you try to use it. In some cases, an overdraft fee is also charged if someone decides to become a part of the overdraft coverage program. An additional fee is charged every billing cycle when a person goes over the credit limit. To avoid getting your card suspended or paying additional fees, you should use your card responsibly and stay within the defined limit of your credit card. How does the credit limit work? When you opt for a credit card, your card's limit is determined by the card issuer based on several factors, like your total income, the current level of debt, and your credit history. If you have a bad credit history, a record of late payments, and a large chunk of debt compared to your income, then you are assigned a low credit limit by the lender. You cannot know your credit limit unless the whole process of card application and acceptance is completed. In the case of secured credit cards, there is an exception because you have to make a security deposit and the card issuer decides the credit limit based on that deposit. If at some point you stop making regular payments and default, the security deposit covers the loss of the issuer. Secured credit card users are assigned a credit limit that is the same as their security deposit. Also, if you want to know more about secured credit cards, you can check out my detailed video on them by clicking on the card on your screen. If at any point you feel you want to increase your credit limit, you have the option to ask for a higher limit. There are chances that your credit limit changes over time if you use your credit card wisely and make timely monthly payments. Sometimes you can enjoy an increased credit limit without even asking for it for some period of time if your credit history improves and you use your card responsibly. In the same way, your credit limit can also be reduced if you don't make timely payments and your debt rises. In this case, your issuer will drop your limit because of the increased risk. An easy way to find out the credit limit of your credit card is by calling the credit card's customer service or by logging into an online account and checking the billing statement. How to raise the credit limit on your card? There are certain ways through which you can increase your credit limit and score, and we are going to look at the ways one by one. So as I told you earlier, sometimes you get an automatic raise in the credit limit by the card issuer when you handle your card responsibly. You don't have to do much if you want your card lender to increase your limit after automatically monitoring your card activity. You just have to make payments on time and manage your credit limit. The second way to raise your card's credit limit is by requesting the lender to increase it. So when you request a raise, you have to get in touch with their customer service representative to get all the relevant details of the process. Some card issuers allow you to increase your card limit through your online account. You have to log in and check the menu options for the credit limit, and after filling out some details for the issuer, like the reason for the increase, your monthly income, and current credit limit, you can ask for a raise on the limit on your card. The card issuer then accesses your credit report via soft or hard pull to process your request. Usually, a soft pull or inquiry doesn't impact your credit score as they appear on your side of the credit report and only you can view it. Contrary to this, a hard pull can affect your credit score as the hard inquiry appears on all the versions of your report for at least 2 years. If you have a lot of debt in different places, you must pay off some of it before requesting an increase. It is better to ask your card issuer about which inquiry approach they are taking before proceeding with the process. Another way to increase the credit limit is by increasing the security deposit if you are using a secured card. Just call the service provider and ask him about the steps to proceed. You can ask your credit card issuer about all the process details to increase your limit to get accurate information instead of reading everything through the online forms. Calling your issuer is a good option as it clears your doubts and makes up your mind about how you are going to go with your request, or if you are even going to make one. What to do if your request is not accepted? If your account has a good history, it is going well, and you have enough income to support a credit limit increase, your request will be approved, and you'll get notified by your card issuer after a few days through an email, or in the case of an online request, you are notified immediately about the acceptance. But an attempt to increase the credit limit may not always be successful. Sometimes your request can be denied for several reasons. Some of the reasons for the denied request can include low income and qualifying for an increase in new account, or maybe it is too soon to ask for an increased credit limit. If you have a negative credit history, it can also be a reason for the decline. When your request is denied, you get an adverse action plan letter explaining why you are not eligible for a credit limit increase. You also get a free credit score disclosure if your credit score was used in the decision to decline your request. Don't worry if your request is denied. You can apply again after some time after improving the reasons why your request was rejected in the first place and explained in the adverse action plan. When you feel you have worked on the shortcomings, you can reapply and get your credit limit increased. Why is there a need to increase the credit limit? People opt to raise their credit limit for several different reasons. Some of the reasons include paying for work-related expenses before paying them back and increasing monthly expenses. So to avoid cash flow problems, people opt to go for a higher credit limit. Also, those struggling to meet all their outgoings, including credit repayments, need a raise in their credit card limit. Pros and cons of increased credit limit. We have gone over the ways to increase the credit limit, but the question most of you will be asking at this time will be whether you should request a raise in your credit limit or not. So let me walk you through some pros and cons of a high credit limit so you can find out whether it is feasible for you or not. Pros. The first pro is that the more credit you have, the more convenient it becomes for you to pay, especially for your major expenses. Instead of carrying a large amount of money around and using ATM repeatedly and paying their fees, you can instantly pay for some major expenses with an increased limit on your card. An increased credit limit also means you have a backup plan in case of an emergency situation. Several emergencies require instant solutions, and an increased limit can aid you in dealing with an unexpected crisis. When you have more credit limits, you enjoy more buying power. Many people don't like to pay for major purchases with cash, so with an increased limit, they get the option of making the entire purchase on the card without worrying about getting a new credit line. An increased credit limit also helps in increasing the credit score. Your debt-to-credit ratio decreases significantly with a rise in your credit limit, which results in improved credit scores. Also, an increase in the credit limit makes you feel good and indicates you are following the credit obligations and are on the right financial track. Cons. Now let's talk about why getting a high credit limit is not always a good option. A higher credit limit increases the chances of falling into debt traps. When you depend completely on your credit card and not on cash, you can potentially make irresponsible purchases. Handing over cash acts as a restraining force, while purchasing things through a credit card takes away your awareness of how much you are spending. People don't realize how much they spend on their cards until the end of the month and then get slammed with high interest rates. A higher credit limit makes it challenging to get a mortgage if you don't make your payments on time because the lenders calculate your credit card debt, not as the amount you actually owe, but the amount you could owe. In other words, a $1,000 debt against a $5,000 limit is seen as a $5,000 debt, but against a $2,000 limit is seen as a $2,000 debt. People who don't monitor their financial habits get a false sense of security about the increase in their credit score. When people think their credit score is improving, but it isn't in reality, they apply for new credit that adds inquiries to their credit report. If you feel that an increased credit limit is something you want, then you can get in touch with your issuer and initiate the process. The chances of your request getting accepted are high if you are a responsible card holder and have a good credit history and good income. Just remember to consider your needs and weigh the pros and cons of raising the credit limit on your card before making a final decision. Check out these videos on your screen on how to improve your finances. If you like this video, hit the like button to receive more content like this. Be sure to subscribe and share the video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.